Right. Yet another conversation of better habits on better habits, and we have another certified habit coach who's been on the platform long time. We're gonna get into that in a minute, but first I want to welcome Ben. Ben, welcome to the show.
Hey, Lydia, thank you. It's great to be here, and hopefully we're able to share a bit of what's worked over, I think it's got to be like 7+ years on the platform, maybe more.
There you go. There you go. That's why I'm so excited to have you. I'm excited to have coaches. And this is one of the benefit, shameless, shameless plug, Coachdotme existing so long, and we have coaches who's been with us for years, soon to be decade. Cool. So let's start with the quick intro. Tell us, you know, in 90 seconds, who you are, what you do, and how you help people as a coach.
Yeah, thank you. So my company is Win the Day High Performance Accountability Coaching, and that sounds like a lot. The big part of that, of course, is the high performance and the accountability. And Win the Day comes from when I was actually a habit coach. Oh, I still am a habit coach, but when I first started, I realized these way of having these everyday successes and everyday wins, and so I actually then started calling my company Win the Day. And it's wintheday.com.au because I'm here in Australia, and wintheday.com is very, very expensive. But what I do, so high performance accountability coaching is a form of executive and business coaching, and I work focusing much more on accountability, so keeping my clients accountable. It was a few years ago that, it was more than that now, maybe 5 years ago, that I had a chat to my business and executive coaching clients, and I said to them, "Hey, look, what's the one thing that I do really, really well?" And they didn't tell me that I was a business guru. They didn't tell me that I was some amazing executive. What they told me was that I held their feet to the flames, that I was like their drill sergeant for discipline. And that made me have a little bit of a rethink about how I do my coaching. And I realized that the last 15 to 20 minutes of my coaching sessions made all the difference. That was when we start talking about implementation and action, and really what's going to work and how we're going to turn around next week. And so I just shifted my whole coaching over to that. And it was a big part about what I learned working with Coachdotme was this celebrating the incremental, the daily wins, and the accountability that was built in with that. They're always checking in, and they're stacking those wins. And it took me back to when I was a personal trainer, and a lot of my clients just had me there. They knew how to train. After about a year of training with me, they knew about as much as I did about, calories and how to train the body and muscles and all that sort of thing. They brought me in 2-3 times a week just because they made sure they showed up and they were accountable. And so that whole concept changed the way that I coach. I still have the chops as a executive coach. I still have the chops as a business coach. But that really just enables our leadership coaching as well, of course. That just enables me to, when they have an obstacle or problem, I'm able to sort of switch more into that. And so that's where some additional coaching comes in.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I fully agree that in today's world, there is no lack of knowledge. Like today, everybody has access to pretty much everything through the internet, through ChatGPT, through other resources, right? Paid or free. So knowledge is not a problem, right? There are a few problems. One is choosing the one path, knowledge, method that's going to work for you, right? Because of your strengths and your weaknesses as a business person or as an individual, because we're all different, right? Different strengths, different weaknesses, different personalities, right? So choosing the right method, because there are tons of them, right? Thousands. And that's where coaching, leadership coaching, business coaching can be handy, helpful to fast track you to success. And second is what you just mentioned, accountability. Because any idea. There are so many good ideas, and everybody has a lot of ideas. Now, those that stay ideas, they die, right? All into implementation. Implementation comes down to small steps or consistent steps, sometimes
Yeah.
small, sometimes bigger, but consistent steps done daily.
Yeah.
And that's where accountability coaching becomes instrumental, right?
Yeah, 100%. When I first, so I was working with Brian Tracy years ago when I first came back to Australia, and
Right.
then he had a coaching franchise called Focal Point Coaching, and that
Okay.
is still quite huge throughout the US, Canada. It's a global business coaching franchise, and they're the ones that train me up on the business coaching, executive coaching, the high performance coaching.
Okay.
One of the things they said really early on was that I'm like, well, I'm actually not like a super businessy person. They said that doesn't
Mm.
matter. We start with the mindset that your business clients know everything about their business. They know what they need to do. They just need someone to bring it out of them, someone to ask the questions so they get clarity on what they're
Mm.
doing, so and get clarity on what the next steps are so they can keep things moving. And so that was
Right.
a really early lesson of mine, which of course got cemented later when I started delving deep into habit theory, and James Clear being a huge part of it, but
Yeah.
Lou Hig as well. The Power of Habit, Atomic Habits, really
Yeah.
started going in that sort of habit theory side, and then started to see, okay, this is why this stuff works. This is why this accountability stuff works, and
Yeah.
that was just, for me, it was just too long a gap between the monthly sessions or the fortnightly sessions to see the regular improvements. And so often, some of my clients, they'll just do their homework 2 days before. So whether it was
Yes.
like a one call
I've
every
done
few
it so
weeks,
many times.
or yeah, or one call every month, they'll do it 2 days in advance. It's like, okay, I need to shorten this space here. Like, if we want to get action, let's
Love
go
it.
every week. And then of course with the Coach.me,
Daily
every
check-in.
day sort of check-in is hugely successful. So my ongoing practice is just a blend of all three of them. I still have both business coaching clients
Mhm.
that I'll help with the business side of it, but most people now, it's the accountability coaching
Yeah.
on their business, and they might have other business coaches, they've got other mentors or something, and I just sort of fit towards that implementation side.
Right, right. So I want to ask a little bit, maybe side question, but I'm always fascinated by the diverse background of our coaches. And I know
Mhm.
your background is military. In military, we know it's like discipline, 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 right?
Mm,
I
mm,
don't know, just curious. Maybe there is maybe there is some linkage. Did you drag some, I don't know, practices, examples, or
mm.
something from your past and I think present
Yeah, yeah.
to your coaching practice. So how one impacts the other.
Yeah, definitely. Well, before I talk more what I learned from the military, what I need to talk about is 20 years before that, when I was a jazz
Okay.
musician. So before all of that, I was actually, I was a fully qualified jazz musician. I was professional. I taught as well. And so that was, something I always dreamt to do when I was younger. So I had a chance to do
Mm,
that. It's not a huge industry, not a huge amount of money in it, but it was wonderful. And I'll probably end up doing that again, in ten years or so, 5, 10 years or
okay.
so. So that was part of the journey. Then I had a journey working for Apple, and then I had a journey working for some other things, international startups. At the same time with Apple, sorry, it was personal training. And then from personal
Okay.
training to some international startups, and it all sort of rolled in together. That was the businessy side. And then I found Brian Tracy. And not long
Mm-hmm.
after that was when I joined. So I didn't join the military till I was 40.
Oh
So
my God.
yeah. So about 8 years ago, I
What a
joined the military,
story.
and that just taught me so much. So we moved back from Sweden to Australia. I wanted to do something a little bit extra. I'm still in pretty good physical shape. I thought, why not take on this challenge? And it taught me so much about mindset. Um,
Mm,
short story there was when I first went off to the training. So I'm going to the basic training with like boot camp, right, with a whole bunch of 20-year-olds. really fit people in general, super fit, super smart. And we had all these physical challenges. We had one called the beep test, which is where you run 20 meters and you got to get there by the beep, and the beep goes levels up. It gets faster and faster each time. And you've got to get to a certain level to qualify and pass. And that level was about 7.6, something like that. So just about everyone got the 7.6. But then it kept on going to 8 and then 9. And then, people are dropping off around the 8 because they achieved 7.6. They drop off around the 8. A few people would hang in there going to the 9. So a few people would hang in hitting 10. And it was me and just a couple other guys hitting 10. Then we're hitting 11. And then they look at me and they used to call me Pops. Look at me, go, Pops, aren't you going to give up? Aren't you going to give up? And so it ended up being, then finally it was me and one guy left. We both agreed to call it there, and then sprinted to the end, and he just beat me. But the fact of the matter is that that was two of us left after about 60 or more people, all in incredibly good shape. And they're like, Pops, how did you beat us? Like, how do you keep consistently going? Like, we all stopped way back. Like, you were going for another sort of 10 minutes or so and those sort of speeds. And like, what are you made of? And I just said, no, actually, the thing is that it's about mindset. And that I've pushed myself so hard so many times by my age that I know when I'm giving 100%. I know when I'm giving 110%. I've got nothing left. I'm about to fall over and graze my knees on this ground, but I'm going to keep on pushing. And you guys are stopping at 80%. But I guarantee you, after this boot camp is done, if you hang with it, and I see you again at the end of this, and we do this again, you guys will all beat me, because you've had that mindset trained into you. You know what you're capable of now. At 20, some people don't know what they're capable of, or at 24, or what some of these guys were aged. But by the end of it, their fitness was the same. I mean, my bones were aching and creaking, but they'd learned this discipline and mindset and what they were capable of through that training. And therefore, at the end of it all, they were there with me, and many more people beat me by the end of it. So one of the main takeaways that I had from that is, mindset's super important. The belief in self, having a group of people around you that support you and push you, is super important. But then how it applies to my coaching is that I am not the right coach for everyone. I can absolutely tell you that, because I am direct. I am no BS. I don't mince words. If I'm speaking to a CEO and they said they were going to achieve something in this week, and they didn't achieve it because, spot fires came in, or because this happened, or because that happened, and they come up with all these excuses. They're telling me it's a reason. I'm saying, no, that's an excuse, mate. That is an excuse. The difference between a reason and an excuse is a reason is if there's absolutely no way that it could have been any different. It's an act of God. It's a volcano. It's a flood.
A war.
Like that. But everything else is an excuse. Something you have control over becomes an excuse. So I've got no issue of calling that out. A lot of people don't like that when I look at them and I say, so what are you going to do about it? Yeah, I've heard of that. So what are you going to do about it? What are you going to take from this? Or say, you failed this week, mate. This week was a failure. You had 3 things down. You did one of those things and it wasn't even the main effort. What are we going to do different next week?
Right.
Otherwise, we're going to have this conversation again. And in 3 months' time, if we have this another 3 times, you failed the quarter. How's that going to look for your board? How's that going to look for your team? How's that going to look for your leadership? How's that going to look when you go home? And so I really get quite point. The military's taught me, excuse me, how to be direct and not be afraid, direct and clarity. And so that's something that through my military career that I have become a lot more comfortable with that. And now people hire me because I am like that. But people don't hire me because they want to have a coach that is a cheerleader and that does all that sort of stuff. And I for my clients, absolutely, but I'm not a cheerleader. I'm not going to puff people up.
Right. And I love that. And I think I want to stress out what you mentioned, that you're not the coach for everyone. I don't think, if you try, and I'm talking to coaches now, if you're trying to be a coach for everyone, you will be coached to no one. You're not going to stand out in the marketing game, and today
Mhm.
marketing game for coaches is tough, right? You need to stand out, you need to be different from every other coach, and we have a lot, thanks God we have a lot. So
Mhm.
this is one. But secondly, you know, you will be good for nobody because you will not have personality, you will not have your style. So don't try to be a coach for everyone, right? And then I'm speaking to clients now because I know we have listeners on both camps.
Mhm.
If when you're looking for a coach, look for a coach that is best for you. Not everybody is good for you. If you're looking for cheerleader, fine, it's not Ben. It's probably
Yeah.
not me because I'm on your side.
Yeah.
I'm on the I'm learning to be even more leaning into my strengths, which is like you, result oriented,
Mhm.
goal determined. I'm like, if you want to achieve something, you need to do something, and the rest is excuses and history. So if this is what you want, I'm the right coach for you, and I think you're pretty much the same. So as a client, look for the right coach. And if you met someone, if you started working with someone who's just not the right fit, don't say coaching doesn't work or coaching is BS. We've
Mhm.
we've heard those sentences. No, just keep looking for the right coach for you, and it's he or she is out
Mhm.
there. You will
Yeah.
find them. And at Coachdotme, we have a variety of coaches, and I'm sure there are even more outside the Coach Me universe. So keep
Mm.
looking.
Yeah, certainly trust, credibility, authenticity is super, super important. And it's really difficult in this day because of all the marketing and stuff that's out there where you just see people just big noting themselves or say, or, classic is a picture in front of fancy cars and things like that. But it's so much
Yeah.
more than that. It's using language or personas that aren't themselves because maybe they're afraid to go. And I certainly was when I first started this. I was afraid to sort of go more down that line because I wanted to please people, wanted to get more clients. Um,
Yes.
so with the current marketing and things, it's become very difficult for people to sort of
Yeah.
understand more about is this coach for me? At least on Coach.me, there's a plethora of people that they can choose from, and you can try. You've got all those options from sort of a client perspective, but from a coach perspective, like you said, you've got to stand for something, and you've got to have
Mm.
that, and long coaching relationships. It is that trust, credibility, authenticity as well. And I've
Right.
had clients that have been with me for years. They
Right.
know very much who I am and how I respond. They know what to expect. And so, yeah, the I'm able to keep that going, I guess, because I have that. It's just me. I mean, they're just getting me, and I know that some people don't resonate, but that's okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Let's maybe switch gears a little bit. And I do want to talk about, what you coach on because I want to get some practical advice tips for folks that they can just try out. And we already said that knowledge is not there is no deficit of knowledge, but still you got a lot of practical experience, a lot of coaching experience. I'm sure folks can benefit from it and they can try it out. And then, if they need further support, definitely go and check out Ben's profile, and, try it out, the discovery call or connect call, or sign up for one of the packages. So I'm a big advocate of focus and the one thing. This is my book that is always on my desk, like
Yeah,
always. I think this is my kind of the most favorite business book ever.
yeah.
I don't know what you're gonna say, but I often struggle, and I'll be honest, I often struggle to determine what is the one thing, because there are so many areas of our life. I have
Mm,
family, just like
mm,
you, kids, right? I have my personal mental health, physical health. I
mhm,
have business that I'm building. I'm working for Coach Me. Like there's so many areas. So you wake up in the morning and you feel determined and you feel pumped, and then like, okay, I need to choose the one thing, and then you spend next 2 hours trying to figure out the one thing. I'm exaggerating, right?
mm,
But What so what is your relationship with the one thing
Mhm.
book and the concept, and how you came about this concept, and then maybe some practical tools, tips that you can give us, to help determine that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, absolutely love the book. It was so crystal clear on, the clarifying question. What is the one thing that I'm going to do that by doing so is going to make everything else easier or necessary? Fantastic. But there are other books that are quite similar. I mean, you've got Essentialism as well, which talks about that.
Right. Correct.
So, I mean, the concept isn't overly new. The way that it was described in the book was game changing and was brilliantly conveyed.
Right.
The way that I think about the one thing, so in the military, we have something we call the main effort, and we have two
Mm.
supporting efforts. And so I found that a lot of people found it very difficult to just go, this is the one, to focus in just on that one thing each day. So I used to talk about 5 things. Well, it's about 10 things. Now I talk about 3 things in
Mm-hmm.
most cases. Now I do have a couple of different ways depending on the client on what I focus on, but it is the main effort and then 2 supporting efforts, and that's quite gives my clients a lot of flexibility. We call it the cake, we call it the cream and the cherry on top. That's one way to look at it. But it gives them a little bit more flexibility.
Very
Yeah,
visual,
that's
so
right.
you can remember it very
It's
quickly.
easy to remember on that one. But the other reason that I have sort of 3 things as well is the one thing is that thing that is the no fail. That's the thing that we must
Mm.
achieve that day to win the day. So we make sure that we lock down that main effort. And then the 2 supporting efforts can be supporting of that main effort, or they might just be other things. So that is sort of a main part of my concept. But in order to get to that, that can often be the challenge. So how do we get clarity on this? How do we chunk it down? How do we break it
Yeah.
down to that? And there's another thing from Brian Tracy, and he's done a couple of videos, some old videos you might see popping up on LinkedIn or YouTube when he talks about 10 goals.
Mm.
Now, it's something that was recorded for that, but it's one thing he passed on to us only. And I write about this in my ebook, which is the 10 by 10 goal setting challenge. But he said that all you need to do is write down 10 goals, and then the next day do the same thing, but don't look at the day before. And then day 3, you do the same thing, but you don't look at any of the previous 2 days. And over the
Mm.
period of time, things start cementing into your subconscious mind as well. There's all this sort of a habit theory and brain science and neuroscience that goes into it, which is why it worked. But of course, in Brian Tracy's time, it wasn't like they didn't have quite so much neuroscience there. But now we're just
Right.
finding evidence and proof as to why this works. So what
Right.
I've taken is a 10 by 10 challenge, and I've gone a little bit deeper with it, with some more ways of clarifying what the goals are and using what I know from basic habit theory was small wins. So we step off for the day 1, just write down 10 things you want to be, do, or have. And they can be
Mm.
single word answers: car, house, loving wife, family, successful kids, holiday, 100
No
grand,
filter.
whatever.
So no
No
filtering.
filter, just get it straight out. Get it straight out, no filter. Day 2's just the same thing, but don't look at day 1.
Don't
Day
look.
3, then I talk about the pillars. So we've got health and fitness. We've
Yeah.
got financial independence. We've got our business or our work, our career, and
Relationship.
relationships and
Relationship.
family. Family. So they're our 4 pillars. There might be some others. If people are religious, they might have something that's there as well, right? But those 4
Right.
main pillars.
There's
So then,
community, maybe service. For some, it's
yeah,
religion, spiritual. So there might be fifth pillar, I
yeah, and
guess.
sometimes that comes into sort of the health and fitness part as well, because it's sort of like a holistic health.
Sure.
But so day 3 and day 4, we try to put them into those categories. And then after, then day 5, we start segmenting a little bit more. We start to clarify things up. But by the time we get to day 10, our subconscious has been brewing on us. The goals have been developed. So we have 10 very, very clear goals. And we have
Mm.
dates for them. We have times. We know we're going to achieve them. We've got them all balanced over our pillars. And
Mm.
then from there, we turn this into a roadmap. And we get very, very clear
Nice.
about, so we'll take one, normally Face to face, we'll take one or two of these goals. I'll teach someone how to do it, take it to the roadmap. There's two main questions in the roadmap that are super important. One of them is, who do I need to become to achieve this goal?
Right.
Or who do I know that's achieved this goal that has the traits that I want to embody? So that's
Right.
one big question. The other one is something I've learned from the military. Whenever we do planning, we always look, there's a saying that says the enemy always has a say. So no matter how good your plan is, the enemy always has a say, because they're their own people. They've got their own plans. And so we need to look at the enemy or the obstacles that we
Right.
might encounter. So
Yeah.
much goal setting is like all positive and affirmative and reinforcing. Well, I'm a little bit more
Yeah.
pragmatic than that. And I know that
Yeah.
if you haven't achieved this goal, most people have had goals for 10 years or more. If you haven't achieved this goal yet, it's because something got in the way. It was an obstacle that got in the way back then, or an excuse or something like that. So let's identify that right now in this goal.
Mm.
And maybe that needs to become a new goal to overcome that obstacle. Maybe we need some coaching to be able to do that. But we get very, very clear through that and how are we going to attack that obstacle. And that ties in habits and all those sort of things as well. So we build out those goals. Once we've done that and we've got the roadmap, and we might have done that for 3 goals, go, okay, now we're going to chunk it down. What does this look like? That maybe it was a quarterly goal, maybe it was a yearly goal. Either way, we'll break it back down to, okay, what do we need to do this next quarter? Because I coach people on a quarterly basis. So they sign up
Yeah.
with me for 12 weeks or so, quarterly
Yeah.
basis. And then we chunk it back. Okay. So, and then we break it back down into what we need to do every month. What are our monthly milestones? And then we'll break that down and what this look like each week. Now, sometimes the main effort, our one thing, is actually a habit that we need to generate. If you're a
Yeah.
salesperson, it's making 10 sales calls a day. Or
Yep.
if you've got low energy, it's making sure you go out for a walk in the morning, or you have your healthy juice, or you eat better, or you do some food prep and or meal
Right.
prep for your lunch, or it might be any number of these things. But what is the number one thing that's getting in the way of us not achieving this goal? And we focus in on that, and that's how we sort of
Right.
identify that one thing. It takes a while to get there, and what I've discovered is it's very difficult for a lot of people to inherently know what that is, and that's where the coaching comes in, because I've got a range of questions that I can use, and when we're going through that roadmap process, I'm getting pretty clear about what it is that they're really after. And because of experience, I tend to
Right.
know that it's a keystone habit of some sort in most cases
Yep.
that we need to put into that one thing. Because the keystone
Mm.
habit, as we know, unlocks all the other habits. And you know what? One of the most common keystone habit, well, I've got two. The two most common keystone habits unlock it for everyone is, most likely it's a fitness-based one. So is
Right.
working out, because we work out, we sleep better, we eat better, and then we have
Yeah.
more energy, so we can work out, so we can eat better, so we sleep better, we have more energy. That's a
Mm.
cycle. But the other one, and this is a huge, huge thing, is what we call the weekly review. If I ever get
Right.
asked what is number one habit of high performers, is that they'll look at what's past
Yeah.
to a week, and then they'll say, what can I learn from that? What worked, what didn't,
Yeah.
and how am I going to apply it to the next week? And that is the number
Yeah.
one habit that people need to, it's not even a habit, it's a routine, but it becomes a habit when you do it for so long. You go, I've just gone through the weekend and I'm missing something. I was crikey, I haven't done my weekly routine. So those two things together are super important. But the weekly
Cool.
review is, it really just ties it all together and unlocks it. And that is what my coaching is all about. My clients do the weekly review, they send it to me, and then we coach on it in our sessions.
Right. Oh, so many golden nuggets there. Totally, totally agree. So just recap or emphasize some of the points that you made. So you're doing the top down. Basically, it's hard to determine what's important today if you don't know where you're going, right? You don't have a map, you don't have a
Yep.
compass. How
Yep.
do you know where to make the next step? And that step is not in the different direction. So what you described to me is the top-down approach. It very much reminded me of the process that I really like from Cal Newport, the
Mhm.
lifestyle-centric planning. And here's the same, like what is the life you're gonna live? And then going backwards for
Mhm.
that to be there in 5 years, what needs to happen in 1 year, what needs to happen, and then you go down the quarterly, monthly, and weekly. And I
Yeah.
totally agree that weekly is win them all. Like
Yeah.
this is the best, because if you have the plan for the week, then the daily become easier, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
100%. And if they're having troubles getting their weekly plan in order, whether it is their, again, their one
go
thing
higher.
a day, then straight to Coach.me. It's like, okay, here we go. Let's do this daily check-in until we can establish that rock solid habit. And
Right.
many of my clients, we have the weekly review process. And their daily habit with me is checking in on, we chop and change. What is their one thing? And that's what they're checking in with me on their on.
Right.
And that might change from month to month. It takes, people's lives will switch, or they accomplish that, or whatever. And so that's a really effective way to lock that down.
Right. And the second thing I wanted to kind of stress, particularly, I think the concept of the Keystone habit, again, it's not exclusive to Coach.me, but we lean into that concept
Mm.
very heavily, because we believe a Keystone habit is the habit that it doesn't just, give you something good, but it actually change your whole identity, right?
Mm-hmm.
You become
Yeah.
someone who's doing the walk, so taking care of you, you're becoming the one who's taking care of your health. And
Mm-hmm.
then it's just the snow, waterfall or snowball effect,
Mm-hmm.
a positive effect, right? And I really love how you say that these two. So one is the two keystone habit that everyone, if you're, sometimes I tell people, and don't tell anyone, just between you and me, that sometimes it doesn't matter with what habit you start. You have the coach, you start with the habit. And sometimes when people ask me, like, which habit should I start? I have problems with money, with health, with
Mm-hmm.
business. And sometimes I said, honestly, it doesn't matter. Start with the easiest one. Just make
Mm-hmm.
sure you do it consistently,
Yeah.
because the consistency is the first step. But what you're saying is, makes more sense, right? Because the energy
Yeah.
is either what's hindering our success or what's fueling our success. So
Yeah.
going back, everybody wants to wake up 6 a.m. and do the journaling and do it. Like, okay, but the question is, what time you go to bed?
Go to
So
bed. Yeah.
if you want more energy, maybe start with going to bed at the same time. Going to bed early. Don't
Mm-hmm.
look on your device. I mean, so I think it is personal, and it's great to have a coach who will help identify the exact habit that hindering your success, hindering your energy. But even if you're like, I don't know, I want to start on my own, sure, go and do this.
Yeah.
Absolutely. About 6 to 8% of people on this earth are able to do things on their own without help.
Mhm.
If you
Yeah.
those, perfect, go and do this. But you can start and you realize you need help. You need help with picking the right habit, with accountability. And that's where our coaches, our certified habit coaches, just very experienced, like Ben, who's seen this so
Mm-hmm.
many times. Ben, how many clients you had?
Oh,
Hundreds, if
wow.
not
Yeah.
thousands?
Yeah. Just through Coach.me, it's definitely been in the hundreds now, over the
There you
last
go.
sort of 10 years or so. Yeah. I've lost count. I'm
Yeah,
in a fortunate position where I kind of pick and choose my clients now.
cool.
I've only got a certain amount of slots available, and those people, and I learned this from Tony Robbins back when I was a personal trainer, is that I actually had people convince me that they needed me to be their personal trainer. So I would tell them, I was like, hey, look, I've got no times available, but I want you to tell me, I want you to come back to me with 5 reasons why you absolutely need me to be your personal trainer. And now,
Love this.
if they want me to be their one-to-one coach, and I tried this a little bit with Coach.me as well. So I've got the 10 by 10 challenge. I will give it to you for free. Give it to you free. I'll
Right.
even give you a free call afterwards to show you how to make the roadmap, right? But I don't have a client that has not completed the 10 by 10 challenge, because I won't work with them. If you can't spend 10 minutes a day focusing on yourself for 10 days
Perfect.
consistently, I'm sorry, I don't have the time for you, because we can't do it. And it's so simple to do that if you can't do
Yeah.
that, then I can't be your coach on Coach.me even, because I require the commitment. I require
Yeah.
you to spend 10 minutes or less to check in to say that you try to do something. And so that 10 by 10 to me is the gatekeeper essentially. And so that's been super important. And yeah, when people complete it, then cool. And it is super simple. It's not easy though, because I don't know a lot of people that can do 10 days consistently with a lot of things. I struggle
Yeah.
with that from time to time, right?
Yes.
Life gets in the way, all that, all that as well. And I
Yeah.
tried making it 5 days for a while because there was all these 5 day coach, 5 day
Right.
challenges that were bumping around on ClickFunnels or something like that. So I thought I'm going to try the 5 day thing. People still failed at that, mind you, but it just wasn't quite getting enough.
Right.
It just didn't get deep enough in people's brains of the neuroscience part of it, the subconscious part of it. So I've gone back to 10 days, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's been super important.
No, it's super, super. This is why I'm a business coach and I help coaches build financially thriving, successful businesses. And what I say, you need to stop coaching for free, because if your client is not investing
Mhm.
anything, they're not going to get the
Yeah.
same result as if they invest in, and the investment time,
Mhm.
effort, and money. So it needs to feel important. And
Yep.
it's just a psychology, just a neuroscience. We don't pay attention to things that come to us easy. So if people are serious, if they invested 10 days doing this
Mhm.
challenge, absolutely they will stand out to be
Yeah.
your clients. All right, well,
Yeah.
wrapping up, I think we got so much out of, I got a lot out of this discussion. Maybe a few final words, just motivational, inspirational, folks who are struggling, who haven't tried coaching yet,
Mhm.
maybe a little bit overwhelmed by life, by
Mhm.
goals, by so many things going on in life. I
Mm.
don't know, maybe a few words that can push them to try something.
Yeah, certainly. It's let me do it in a bit of an analogy. So imagine you're going out to your car one day and you go to turn on the car and it just and it doesn't quite start. And you're like, oh
Nightmare.
my gosh, I'm going to be late for work. What I'm going to do? But you realize, okay, you parked your car on a slight decline, so that's a good start. So you go back in the car, you make sure that your steering wheel is nice and straight. You make sure it's out of gear because it's a manual car, so you can push start it. And then you take off the handbrake and you're all ready to go, and you start to push the car, and then it goes just a little bit, but then it just sort of it just kind of stops, and it's like you've hit some sort of really small little pebble, but it's enough to
Mm,
sort of break that momentum of pushing it forward. So then, yep, you're ready to go again. You try to give another push, and then no, maybe you went 4 centimeters this time, and then it's ground to a halt. Your neighbor, and maybe he's a good-looking guy with glasses and a moustache. He pops out and he says, "Hey, mate, do you need a hand?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm just trying to push stuff the game." So let me give you a hand. Tell you what, you go take by the driver's side, and I'm going to push at the back. And then together you push, and then you feel that it just goes over that little bump. Now we're moving. Now we've got some momentum, a little bit fast, a little bit faster, and then you're about to jump in the car and start it. And the coach says, "No, no, 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 not just yet. Let's get a little bit more momentum. We're about to go on that little rise. We're about to go down there. Wait, wait, wait." And then he tells you, "Yep, now you're ready. Jump in there, start the car, and away you go."
mm,
And that's a bit like coaching, is that so many times you might try to do it yourself. And then sometimes it can only just be a very small little speed bump, or life gets in the way and you get derailed. And then maybe you're going to lose motivation after that because, like, oh,
yeah.
crikey, I failed again. Or, oh, there's an issue here. Sometimes there's just that knowledgeable person just around the corner, that neighbor, that mentor, that coach that's seen all this before. He's an older guy. He's had his car not start several times. He knows what all this is about. Just enough there to give you that start and give you that momentum so that you're able to carry on after that. And when you level up, there's probably going to be another coach there to help you level up to that next stage as well. And so that's kind of what coaching is like. And
Mm.
you can get over that little bump on your own, and there's great books that we've already talked about that can help you do that. But nothing beats just having that coach in your corner that's there to support you, that's there to give you that extra little push when you need it. And not everyone's able to get that from their spouse or by their colleagues or anything like that. It sometimes just needs to be that third person who's got a different view, that is just in it there for you to support you. They've got nothing else built in there, and that's where a coach can really come in. And there's enough coaches, and we've got the trial on Coachdotme, able to give people that first 7 days to get over that little bump. They're there for 7 days. That'll be enough to get them over the bump, and then you can go, hey, you know what? This guy's fantastic. We're going to go with them. And so that's sort of how I see the coach. That's why I see the service that Coachdotme does is so fantastic to give people this introduction into coaching. And I've had so many clients that have been with me for so long with Coachdotme, then eventually like, hey, Ben, I want to get some of this. I want some face-to-face time with you. Yep, text-based is absolutely
and that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, I've got a new business challenge that really requires that next level of there. Then cool. And so for both for coaches and for clients, there's so much flexibility in there, but you're able to get someone in your corner so cost effectively to get over those little obstacles, to get you going in the right direction, build those habits. And wow, it's amazing what we achieved after that.
Yeah, no, this is great visual metaphor, and hope folks listening get inspired. You know, guys, the link to Ben's profile is down below. Go check it out. There is the safe way to try and see if Ben is the right coach for you. If you're not sure, we have the coach match is the service. You know, you jump on a call with me, and you know, I'll help you find the best coach for you. And yes, we do have trials, so it's very safe to try and cost effective. Like even the coach, and once you sign up, it's very cost effective. We do think about raising the prices a little bit, not a lot, because our value is keep it affordable. But I think we want, again, what I just said, you need to put the skin in the game. We still keep in the trial, but I think, you know, world has moved on. We did have the same price for a long time. It's still very affordable across the globe, and we are very proud to have clients and coaches, well, coaches first and clients across the globe. It makes Coachdotme an amazing international community. Ben, thank you so much. I truly enjoyed the conversation. I hope listeners got a lot. And if they want to learn more, definitely Coachdotme profile will be down in the link. Thank you so much.
Hey, you're welcome. That was a lot of fun. And yeah, I really hope everyone got a lot out of it and they just want to get started.